Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun.
Good morning, everybody. It is Wednesday, the 11th, FOMC day. I'm not going to be streaming the FOMC because I don't expect anything to happen, but it should make for an interesting day. We still got trade war headlines and everything, and we got to talk about yesterday. I have a lot of thoughts about yesterday, a couple of things about why I think all of that happened and what we can do, and so on and so forth. But before we get into that, let's go to the charts, shall we? Well, first of all, just to say we are a little bit higher, right? So yesterday, we had a very difficult time. Where's my volume profile? Let's just pull the volume profile up, right? Okay, so yesterday, we had a tough time getting above in the ZN. Why do I have it like that? Okay. In ZN, okay, we came up, we had a hard time getting back above 30. Now, in the overnight session, we've quite easily gotten back over it and back into this area. I suspect that this was a stop run. Now, the interesting thing to me, hold on, man. I always hate it when I don't have things all completely set up. I feel so disorganized. Where's my pen? Where's my pen? Okay, this right here and this right here is very curious to me. So there is a little bit of consolidation going on here. Kind of going towards the the trade war deadline. Now, when I go and look at trade war headlines and everything like that, it just gets more and more ridiculous to me. So the headline that I'm seeing this morning is analysts say there might be an 11th hour deadline. So like they don't even have a headline or an anonymous source that they can even cite anymore. So now the analysts are just saying what they hope will happen. This is my take on it. So yeah, it's kind of sketch. By the way, how's this spread doing? That was a pretty big move up in the spreads, and over here didn't really do it. So that's your 2 and 10 year spread. Something important that I think we should keep an eye on. Where did my pen go? Oh, right here. What about the ZB? Do I have? No, I don't have the knob on there. Do I? No, 10 and 30s. The knob spread just hasn't been moving a whole lot lately. Hasn't been moving a ton lately. Well, that's interesting. Okay, here on the open, just coming through. Oh, wait, we should go to the evening first before we do. There was a big down, and then they came back up. We bought up on this. But then it never really got over that 43 yesterday, so that's really curious. So in the E-mini, we're still inside. Anyways, so that's all that. By the way, good morning, Air Cages. By the way, Air Cages, I feel like I have to apologize. I kind of snapped at you yesterday. I know you're, how do I say? Like I know that your heart is in the right spot. I think in the future, we just got to all try and think like, okay, got to stay positive, even when things are like going really poorly. Well, yeah, Mason Chan says some action happening. This is like, so right out of the gate, icebergs on both sides. I have never seen that before. They did tick down first, but man, that is weird. That is weird. Where's Discord? What does Discord think about that, huh? That's weird. Well, we do have Yeah, well, man. Good morning, Uzi. Let's see if we got our thing going down here. Cool. All right, so that was the first thing, is we're going to try and keep it positive, right? I know it's an interesting discussion about, how far do you go? When do you just say that you're not good at this, and so on and so forth? That's not really a question that applies to me. We can just continue to do this forever, even if we have to do it on sim. And that's okay if that's what we have to do. But I do think that there was some edge to what we were doing. I don't think that we have to completely throw out our system. But I do think that we need to search and modify it a little bit. One of the things that's bothering me about the system is that I am allowing it to take too big of a losses. If I'm taking -4 on every trade, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. Now, on the split side, a lot of those trades weren't even getting one positive tick. So there's definitely something wrong there. I was looking at some of my entries yesterday, and they seemed really off. There was a reason why I was taking some of those trades in the locations that I was and everything, but in retrospect, it didn't really make sense. The way that I was trying to play it didn't really make sense. I think that I had a new, some changes that I had already tried making to the system, and I was trying to trade them live, and I probably shouldn't have done that. Probably off after Monday should have just said, okay, let's stop for a little bit. Not even Monday, it would have been like last Wednesday or whatever. Should have said, let's stop for a little bit and save that up, and maybe save that up for the new year or something like that, So that was a mistake. So that was the first thing. And really, because in those places that I took it, like I was saying, like I feel like I was getting targeted. I actually do think that I was getting targeted, not like me personally, but like the spot that I was trading made me an easy target. So we need to adjust that, and we need to kind of watch these areas, take a little bit of notes about it, see if there's a better way for us to play it. All right. So that's the first thing. But then the other thing is that I think that I was off. I think that we kind of had like a perfect storm of me being off and the trade war headlines and all of this other stuff. I got home. It took me a really long time to decide to do something with my Tuesday. I did change a couple of things actually. You want to see? I did some stuff for you guys. So I fixed this up. Maybe we need to fix it up a little bit more, but just the wording and everything I think is a little bit more friendly. Join us. And then I got this end screen. How about that? Is that not cool? So if you subscribe to the Patreon, now your name, you get to be thanked on the end screen. By the way, if you haven't checked out the Patreon, it is still, I think, very useful. Even though I know that the Bitcoin's not going up, but yeah. So check it out. Back here. Anyways, and then I decided, well, I was thinking maybe I should pick up a new game or something, because I just don't feel any passion about anything outside of trading right now. And part of the problem is that I think the games out right now just suck. They just suck. I saw the whole intro too, very cool. Yeah, that's been around for a few weeks, but you know what? The intro is one of the reasons why the channel has been growing so much, I think. Because when people watch the VOD on replay, they know what's going on. And we have better starts too. I kind of, and that was another thing, was I was looking back on yesterday, I was like, it was a really bad video. I had a hard time managing everything, and so we can fix that. All right. We're fixing that right now. Making today an extra good video. Okay. Anyways, then I was like, well, fine, I'll just play Quake. So I started playing Quake, and I was awful. I was absolutely awful. Michael got there first, like, I should have been thinking, man, hit that like button. Hit into that like button. Don't hit into that bid. I don't know if that's the best place to take a trade. Maybe if your system says to do it. But if you really want to click on something, go ahead and hit that like button. So yeah, I was playing quick and I felt like I wasn't doing very well. I was missing a lot of shots that I shouldn't. I was just playing against bots too, which was ridiculous. But then the big thing was that like my reaction time was really off. So I think that, and as is common when I have tilty times, I've been lifting the heavier weights. So yeah, that'll do it. By the way, I changed a few things about the streaming settings. So if are you having trouble like with buffering or anything like that, let me know. Because YouTube is already telling me that it's not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. Why? Do I need to up it back up to 6? Well, I'm doing 4 right now. Seems like it's maintaining it. I didn't think that it could do 6. I'm told that people can't, that if you do 6, that people get more buffering. So I took it down a little bit. Gamer through the ages says no weird things happening here. Okay. Well, anyways, so I think that my timing's off. In fact, I think that we should come over here and do the human reaction test and see how I am right now. I'm going to keep this over here on the screen because that's where I use it the most. Human benchmark. Okay. Mm, 243 is average for me. Okay. Okay. So that's a little bit better than most. Where is this coming from? That's not right. Sometimes I'll get like, when you're 300, then I know that something's off. I felt like I was 300. Anyways, when that happened, I did a couple of things. I was like, well, maybe my electrolytes are low and everything like that. So, oh, we got some news coming in here. It's, oh, we got CPI. CPI looking for a reading of spot 2. Oh, let me adjust this here. Five seconds. Okay, a little bit of movement off the CPI. They pulled quite dramatically for it, didn't they? Which is interesting considering the big icebergs that we had up there. Okay, so I can see the CPI month over month was spot 3 versus an expected spot 2. And the core CPI was spot 2 versus expected spot 2. Remember that core CPI is a change in the price of goods and services purchased by consumers, excluding food and energy. So, cool. The core was a little bit higher than expected, but they usually don't care too much about that. So, let's see where they go from here. Oh yeah, let's make sure that I'm on the right. Okay, cool. Well, they're moving down a little bit. We'll see where they're going. Okay. So I think maybe, like I drink some Gatorade, make sure that I'm eating enough and everything like that. Because often when I'm lifting heavy weights, I kind of exhaust myself. And so I think that might have been a lot of what it was as well. Okay, so now that that's said, what were we saying? Oh, yes.
Air Cages says, did you see the picture I posted in Discord?
Yeah.
Pretty much sums up yesterday, lol.
Probably, where was it? Right. No. Oh, Lizard removed it. Oh, no, wait. You did it as a JPEG. Oh, that one's a different one. I saw one that was like, enough politics, here's a lizard. That one probably belongs in the meme channel, but there's this other one here. Yeah. That was kind of me, wasn't it? I wasn't able to get on that break, and I wanted to be when it broke, a nice short here, and then they went down. But like again, some of the spots that I was trying to take, it didn't really make a whole lot of sense in retrospect. Really didn't. So yeah, we're gonna have to well, we're gonna have to keep a lot better records, essentially. I mean, the pressure is down, but it's not very strong. I don't necessarily see people like getting run over either. We're gonna have to see some positions here. What are we doing over in deltas? The delta for the bar is actually slightly positive. And the offer is trying hard. It looks like people are still kind of trying to decide what they're going to do. Maybe they were just prepping for the CPI report. That's a snowfest. Might break yet. Might take them a bit here. I think that what might happen is they might, the market makers might just let everybody sit and take positions in here and then go off and start messing with people. I actually suspect that we're going to go higher today. Given FOMC and the overnight and everything else, I think that higher is an okay bet. And this was an expansion. That's interesting. Lower 28 area is interesting to me. 27. Okay. What else? There was another thing about yesterday. Oh yeah, by the way, the other thing is that yesterday we finally got to the spot where reading every message was a bit too much. That's okay because we're probably not going to be there all the time, so I can just turn it on and off. You guys can totally yap away. It's fine. If it's too much of a problem for me, I can turn it off, or I can take the headphones off. That way you can still hear them for those of you guys that want to continue to hear them read out. See, they did push up to the top of this range really easily. Yeah, 30.5 is a little bit. I don't know about that one. Yeah. I'm wondering. Okay. That was a little bit more like what I was thinking. I was like, they went through that a little too easily. Now at 31, there is a little bit of pushback. Can you see? I can see that people are still putting orders in it as well. Given the way that the seller has been playing things lately, I'm a little wary about that spot right there. That might have actually been a playable signal short. Yeah.
Air Cages says so. I was shorting the BTC dead cat bounce back in 2018. Shorted at 11K and kept adding to my position until 12K. It was squeezing me for a week. Closed my short. A few days later it dropped to 6K. Sad face.
Yeah, the thing that I'm most interested in right now is how do I identify when an instrument is in squeezing mode? Because yesterday we had that thing where they moved down and then they squeezed higher. And then when they finally, there was some news and that really squeezed everybody higher. And then that like exhausted the move and then they started squeezing lower. And I could not tell that that's what they were doing. I thought that several times in there that the buyers had pushed as far as they could go and that they were going to turn back around. Now, I think that it's going to have something to do with how many positions are on. You know, how do you calculate that? There's got to be a statistical way of doing it. You know, to say how much of this, given where the cumulative delta is, how much of these positions are still on. Windows. Sure. I'll restart it after the stream. Daily and weekly both pointing higher off the report, though. 60 minutes sitting on the RTH open, trying to move higher. Interesting that John was saying the weekly and daily are showing green. He's correct. But not the monthly. So that's conflicted. We have to look at the hourly. And when we look at the hourly, we're down right now. Let's highlight this to John. I want to know what he thinks about this. There's kind of this weird move in ES. They had a strong move up. There was an inside bar. After the inside bar, there was a what do we call it? Not a shooting star. What do they call it on the other side? A hammer. Anyways, just on the outside, and then they went lower. Which I think is contrary to what it would typically tend to do.
Air Cages says perhaps this is something that comes with market instinct experience?
Yeah. Man, the liquidity is actually somewhat light right now. That's really curious to me. Pound roller coaster after last poll suggests hung parliament remains likely. Where's my currencies? I can see that in the British pound. Yeah, okay. Where did that J come from? I think another thing would be, how do we, if I'm watching market orders, like my tape down here, for instance, how do I say that was a stop? I think that if I see 31 trade and then I see some trade at 31.5, that stops. So 4 guys, retail guys, got stopped out at 31. Does that mean short-term reversal? Well, it did. It did move down, didn't it? Bitcoin did move down a little bit yesterday, by the way. Oh, there was an iceberg in the E-mini. Sell iceberg. They came down and now they're testing him again. If they're going to push up in the E-mini, why isn't the Treasury moving down? Maybe it was 3:30. It was around 3:30 Eastern time, not 2:30 Eastern time. I'm not sure what you're talking about, John. John was asking me if I remember the supply and demand indicator that he used to have. But I don't recall that. Why is the liquidity so low? This is really, well, it's okay in the 5-year, but this is low liquidity. Somebody turned the robot off. Maybe I wasn't the only one that got screwed over yesterday, huh? I'm sure I wasn't. I'm sure there was plenty of big guys that took it on the nose too. OPEC sees small 2020 oil deficit even before latest supply cut. Cites RTRS. Due to restraint by Saudi Arabia even before the latest supply pact with other producers takes effect. At Zero Hedge pointing out, delightful headline, U.S. recession odds steady as stocks reach fresh record. I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you guys think the probability of a recession is? It's a little pickup in activity there. Yeah, they went for it at 31, and there's an iceberg on both sides now. You think there's a 0 chance of a recession next year? Let's not say next year. Let's say in the next 2 years. Because the thing is, I don't know. I don't think that people would be intentionally making trades that would set up a recession type of a thing going into the election year. You know, it would have to be something outside of their control, like the crisis that happened in 2008. You know, and I don't know, because I think if Elizabeth Warren gets elected, though, there would be a lot of people that would be upset. You know. Gary Rich thinks third quarter 2020 we get a soft recession. It's just like, it feels to me like the E-mini is kind of doing toppish behavior. You know? Like, if I come back to this volume profile, where is it? By the way, does the microphone sound okay to you guys? I screwed up my microphone settings and had to redo it yesterday. So it might be a little bit softer. Yeah, so I mean, here was the highs, right? And then we had really good trade war news, and they weren't able to bust new highs. And then we had good news yesterday, and they weren't even able to get above the 9th. And that to me doesn't really fit. Like, if there's good news and it's good and like we're good to go, they usually go higher. But they didn't. Something's holding them back.
Gary Rich says, remember, the markets are forward guiding. What happens today is based on future outcomes.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's a little... I think it's a little bit more complicated than that, you know? Because, I mean, they're reacting to what is happening right now. And they're trying to predict what's going to happen in the future. I think that one of the reasons why we typically say that markets are future guiding is because stocks are usually priced in terms of what they think their future earnings growth are going to be, right? But when I look at treasuries, the treasury is trying to price in everything that people know today. It's trying to price in. I guess you could call my market the what would be a good word for trying? Attempted. Now I think we can get better than attempted. That's not giving me a better synonym here. the attempted efficient market hypothesis. The market attempts to correctly price in all available information, but it is very inefficient at it in terms of the percentage of the time that it actually successfully does that. I was looking at the thing behind me and I was like, doesn't look as good as it normally does. Hold on. That's way better. Bonds and treasuries are pricing future GDP. Yeah, sure. Yeah, you're right.
Gary Rich says, well, yeah, nothing. It's the one rule to never forget. Gary Rich says bonds and trees are pricing future GDP, etc.
But is our bonds really pricing a future recession at the moment? I don't think that they are. Another thing I want to note, the large order activity is actually pretty healthy. So are they going to push through? Ah, yeah. Overnight supply. And hence the icebergs and so forth. They're holding the E-mini back.
Air Cages says the fact that Garlicoin is at 0.0006 cents proves that the markets are anything but efficient. Gary Rich says if you don't take the time to understand why bonds or trees move, it's a hard thing initially to learn, then you're just jacking off in the dark.
Well, yeah, but a lot of the things that we look at on a daily basis are a lot more nuanced than that, you know? Like whether or not there's a treasury auction that day, what time of the month it is, what day of the week it is, a lot of those things can be really important to what's going on. And then these other things are kind of like when you get news come in, they're trying to price how it should move based off of that news. But if we're pricing future GDP, for instance, you know, they just kind of think that things are just going to be in line. Supply delineated by the open of the up close bar that puts in the session high, delineated demand delineated by the open of the down close bar that puts in at the low. Oh, okay. But I'm not sure that the treasuries are pricing in a recession. There were some of the things that you would look at to say it's pricing in a recession. It was doing earlier in the year, but then it stopped doing those things. And now they seem to think that the Federal Reserve is just going to be easy forever, and that's going to hold it essentially, you know?
Gary Rich says no, Seth, I'm talking GDP, the economy, monetary policy, not the easy stuff. I'm talking harder study and learning. What real bond or treasury traders, what those are the pros.
Okay. Well, just when you say GDP, I just look at like the Atlanta Fed's GDP forecast, right? And then you can look at the things that go into their forecast. You know, market. The funny thing is that like when we see the GDP forecast happen, it's not like it affects the market when the number changes. Market seems to already know. Like it's already looking at those indicators and adjusts before they put out the number. I don't know why they do it that way, but well, they did get through 31. 31.5 was where we saw some guys stop out at. Seeing more guys going in here. I see quite a bit of iceberging up here at 31, but not. Well, there was a little bit of an increase in activity, but then it kind of died down. The E-mini is turning there. That's curious. I'm kind of thinking they might turn down here, but with it being as slow as it is, I don't think that one works. Yeah, he says ES has been melting up for 5 hours now. That is true. That is true. Did they come through all this? Oh, there's a little bit down and then back up. Hard for me to read what they're doing here. Seems like that somebody is taking some sort of a position. There is a stack in the 5-year. What about... CNCT. Oh, this is not right. We should... What is the spread ratios right now? No, it's 5-2 right now, really. Yeah. So when you put it in like that, then it really is like, wow, it is not moving. Right. This one should be ZF ZN. And what is the ratio on that? Should we do FYT or TUT? Let's do FYT. So 3-2. Well, that's interesting. But if we say that the spreads are much more based on, risks of recession and so forth, then does that mean that they have just been ignoring all of this trade war stuff and that they don't really think that any of it has changed anything? Now they're stacking at 31. Did that just show up? It did. And we had an inside bar. Okay. There's a big one in the 5-year too. Do we see? Let's go like these. That one in the 5-year has been around tinkering for a while. Since before the news, really.
Air Cages says, are you going to be trading the micros today?
I might. If I see his setup, the thing is because it's FOMC and the market is unusually quiet right now, there might not be an opportunity for us today. I mean, I'm keeping an eye on it. I'm kind of wondering if Ace is going to come in here and say that he's going short. What's this? Secretary of State Pompeo says we'll continue maximum pressure campaign of sanctions against Iran. Bank of America CEO says consumer holiday spending was up double digits. Wow. Whoa, what? Zero. So if you're not aware, Aramco, which is the state oil company from Saudi Arabia, did their IPO today, which is an interesting thing. And they were up big in pre-market trading, 10%, I believe. And Zero Hedge is saying Aramco's value increase today is the same as all of Oracle and more than the market cap of Citi. Can you believe that? So it has increased in market cap more than all of Citigroup's market cap. The bank. That is just like, what? Oh, U.S. hits Iran's biggest airline and shipping group with sanctions. Eric K just says one good trade and you're back in ZN. Yeah, maybe. I mean, probably need a little bit more room than one trade, but okay, so they did take 31.5 as well. On the hourly bars in ZN, that looks positive to me. I should maybe move this because I have to like turn my head way too much to see stuff. So this is where before I was buying into 31.5. Look at the orders above it. It's still kind of quiet. They may go through it, but I don't know if this location is really a great place to put on risk. And you can kind of see the amount of orders going in here. There was a little bit there when they came down. Mason Chan said he had a short and he scratched it. Oh, why am I not just
Mason Chan says scratched my trade short. Gary Rich says 2S the Fed rate comes out. Tom, the indices roll to the March contract. It's going to be a slow, tight day till Fed rate announcements.
Yeah, that may be. I mean, here's the thing. On Fed, one of the things that I commonly see going into Fed is people saying, well, there's not much of a reason to do anything until the Federal Reserve announces their decision.
Eric Cages says, does Ace come in here every day?
Not every day. He's got other stuff going on sometimes, like getting kids ready for school and stuff like that. Some days when there's just like not. It's kind of funny with the days that he doesn't show up. There's usually not a lot of opportunity. So that might be the case here. Anyways, like there is some truth to that. There's going to be a little bit of consolidation, especially in the equity indexes going into the FOMC meeting. But I have seen really strong trend days on the 3 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday before the Fed announcement. I haven't seen them lately, but back in like 2017, beginning part of 2018, they would move. And when something came in that was like out of line with expectations, like the Federal Reserve ended up being more hawkish than expected, it was always in line with what the market had already done. It was like somehow they knew what was being discussed in the meeting and had already traded it. I haven't seen that lately, so maybe there was somebody was leaking or something and the Fed governors changed and it changed, I don't know. Or they patched the leak, I don't know. I haven't seen it lately. But I mean, even just look at this, like at 30.5, 3K iceberg. Like they've been pumping good volume, and the institutional orders has been pretty solid. Oh, you know what? Are we?
Eric Cages says, does Ace come in here every day?
How come I'm not hearing? Maybe it has something to do with this. Tape. I see. I'm like, why are we not getting our clicks? Because they're definitely out there. What did we call it? I think it was the chirp. Yeah. Well, unfortunately, that resets everything. You can see, like, look, they're pushing icebergs on the way up. Okay. So now next one we should hear the sound. So I think this one makes sense. Let's try it. You do see this iceberg at 30.5. Oh, okay. Okay, Jigsaw. There. Better. So I don't necessarily see this, but I can just see that they're definitely absorbing and they're pushing the bottom side of this thing. Like that. It's fighting. Did we get more chirps? No. I think we should have gotten it. Let me clear this. That way I know for sure. Said that should have chirped.
Mason Chan says there were many opportunities to get paid on the short at these levels. Hard to get into another short for me at this point.
Well, the trade is anticipating a break of 30. Okay, so they took an offer. I'm not seeing stop. Well, there now I see them. I was like, I don't see stop orders. Somebody actually bought back into that kind of aggressively. I can kind of see now, though, that taking the 30 is tough. Okay. So a decent amount is traded on both the bid and the ask at 29.5. When I see that, that suggests a little bit of balance, which means that to not trade 29 would be kind of weird. Now, did I get another berg? I did. 29. This is about equal to all these other ones. I wish that this one hadn't reset, but oh well. Why do I not get the sound? That really bothers me. I want my clicky sound back. It's so pleasing. Well, you know what we got to do is we got to open up the other workspace and figure out what the difference in the settings was. Touch it. There you go.
Hmm. Now 29 appearing to go, but push back at that price as well. Okay, now we can maybe not jump to the gun there. This is kind of where NinjaTrader 8 has some problems, and I think that's why some people complain about it. Is like when it's loading everything into memory, it's like a real memory hog, and it's quite slow. I have 16 gigs of RAM, so it's not like a huge problem. But if we come over here and we look at how much it's using, 700 megs. I mean, that's a lot. Okay, indicators. It's not on that one. Is it over here? Indicators. Yes. I'm just going to take a picture of that. Okay, well, it held.
Gary Rich says, Seth, you need to get your kids to be a pitcher. Did you see the two pitchers who got paid combined
I
over
see.
$500 million? That's getting paid.
There. I don't think that my children would be good at that. I was not good at throwing things. I lacked the arm strength. Okay, so that one was kind of interesting because they've made it look like that they've cleared 29 and that they're about to hit into 28.5 easily many times now. And then they make it look like it's like over. But I mean, the bar closed down. Also, it seems like the big orders have kind of, well, maybe not. We'll see. We'll see. Haven't gotten a click here yet. Now, one thing I do think my youngest daughter, who has none of my genes, she is built, and that kid has some muscle on her. I think she would be good. She could be athletic, but I don't know what the deal is. Those kids kind of don't. I've never really seen them get like super motivated about something. You know what I mean? There's no drive. I don't know what to do to give them drive. To me, that's like the only thing in life that matters, and they just don't really care. See, it's like that. Weak offer. They hit into it. It pushes back.
Okay, that uptick was a little different. Interesting that they're not going off after the 28.5. Well, now I think I really ruined it. Because now I'm not even getting stuff out in the window when it should be.
Gary Rich says a belt helps to motivate. In China, 4-year-olds are solving string theory and master violinist.
When I joke with my stepson as being overbearing Chinese dad. Why you not Evo champion yet? Why you not solve world hunger yet? Why you not solve cancer yet? Not even one patient. I saw this funny TikTok the other day. This Asian guy, and it was Asian dads arguing over who's going to pay the bill, and the guy is like, "Don't worry about it. I already gave them my card." And then the other guy is like, "No, don't worry about it. I called ahead yesterday and gave them my card number." And then the other guy's like, "No, don't worry about it. I bought this establishment so they can pay for it." And you think like, "Oh, that's the ultimate. Like, what are you gonna do about that, right?" And then the other one says, "Don't worry about it. I bought this country's whole currency." Oh, you know what I need to do here is I'm going to remove it from here. Remove. Okay. Oh, you know what? I shouldn't even put it on one of these. I should put it like... I don't know where I want to put it. I want to hear my click.
Eric Cages says why you no millionaire trader yet, why you no big baller, short caller yet, why you no smash the like button in the face yet, in the face goddammit.
In the face. I don't know. I'm just not aggressive like that. You know, we had our moment yesterday where I tried to get really, really mad. And then it's just, you know what?
Popularity matters, says Norfolk.
Norfolk. Wait, is that how it's supposed to be said? Is North?
Popularity matters, says how WWL.
That girl. It's ridiculous how much money
Harlequin
she
says
makes.
Orange Man bad. Hillary 2020.
Is that how they say 2020, huh? You would have to type it out, 2020. Because they're just going to read out the numbers in Chinese. Well, we had an okay trade there, but they didn't really push, did they? We could have taken 3 on it. The E-mini seems to be struggling.
Air Cages says, is it 2020 or 2020? I better get this right before I get called a boomer or something.
I think it's 2020. That's how I've been saying it.
Ace Trades says morning.
Oh, there you
Popularity
are,
matters
Ace.
says I had a dream about trading CL and scalping it all day.
Ah,
Being in a trade every 10 secs.
it does work. There was the click. And what was the click? They pulled at 30.5.
Air Cages says, am I the only one calling it 2020 then? Oh god.
Yeah. Well, I mean, 2020, that's a mouthful, man. Who's going to do that? Nope, I think it's going to be 2020. I mean, can you imagine in 100 years, people saying 2120? No way. No
Popularity
way.
matters says I also have dreams that I'm inside a DOM or chart.
Oh, yeah. I have dreams about it.
Mason Chan says, Seth, your intuition was right earlier when you said it was weird they didn't go through 285. That was your reason to take the profit. I
Yeah,
don't know
that
why
might have
you are
been.
holding.
Well, I'm looking to maybe scratch, but, you know, there's this
Harlequin
E-mini
says, you uncultured swines. I'm calling it 2020.
2020. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the thing is I like to leave it on until I see a specific signal to get out, and I didn't really see that down there. So that one was kind of a weird case. I would have liked to have taken 30 though. But at the moment, it doesn't necessarily make sense to take it off.
Air
The
Cages says,
E-mini
just
kind
call
of
it the year of the cat.
going around here, right? I'm kind of at their mercy. I guess I could put this right here and try and scratch it. Hope that I get that. Because clearly the trade is done.
Popularity matters says good vision. Popularity matters says 2020.
Mute. Okay, well, the E-mini's first impulse was selling, but I would never read too much into that first impulse because it seems like as of late that the first impulse is always a sell. It's interesting how that cumulative delta played out.
Harlequin says the last FOMC days it was always a sell in the Amini at the open.
Pushed it, and then it was flat all the way
Air
back up.
Cages says what about 2020?
No. Okay, so they let me out. They might actually turn back down here, but this is a time period we don't want to be in, right? And we did fix our click, so that'll help. How many days have I been without the click? Well, how much? I wonder if the click was affecting my my read. I don't think so, but it's kind of weird that I didn't notice earlier. Oh, I didn't see Mike there. He would send me a message. I can respond to that. By the way, guys, on the private message thing, you can totally send me a private message on Discord. But one thing that I would say is if your question is somewhat of a...
Gary Rich says, Seth, do you use Jigsaw Bookmap on its platform?
Yeah, I have the... You mean that? Anyways, if it's not a question that's like super specific to you, or is like a personal question...
Ace Trade says at Gary Rich, you short?
It's probably better to ask it just in the public stream, because then everybody else can hear it too, you know, and somebody else might benefit from it. But if it's like, you know, I took this trade and I feel really bad about it, then maybe that should be private, you know. Clicky click. That one was a stack on the bid at 30. New NYDFS proposes new guidance listing tokens on licensed crypto firms. Did that answer your question, Gary? Is that what you meant by Jigsaw Bookmap? The Vista chart is what they call it. I should get Bookmap. Man. Well, whatever. Oh, Gary Rich says yes. Yeah, I wish that I had enough room to like show everything. So I think that the book maps look cool. But I think that for you guys, since you can't have this indicator, that having that up is more useful to you.
Air Cages says I'm going to keep saying 2020 and there's nothing you can do about it.
Okay. I'm just saying that's your time.
Uzi Knesset says, does Bookmap charge $50 a month to live trade from their DOM?
Well, that's
Thinking
a good question,
face.
Uzi. Let's look.
IQ says you need less shit, man.
You know what? Maybe. Here's the thing. This histogram is useful. Okay. Well, let me...
Uzi Knesset says cuz Jigsaw charging that is rather annoying. Ace Trade says at Air Cages, okay boomer.
The histogram is useful. Seeing how many ticks the swings were was useful. Seeing the cumulative delta is useful. So I'm totally okay with having this chart up.
Air Cages says I summoned Ace, neat.
Okay. Online trading platform 2019 pricing. Aha. So.
IQ says spend time on picking your spots, time well invested, Seth.
Oh. Spend time on picking your spots, time well invested, IQ. Yeah, well, I think you missed when I was going earlier, because it was, who was it that sent me? Oh, it was you, IQ. Yeah. No, I looked at so IQ sent me this chart yesterday. Let me show you guys. He sent me this chart, and he was like, look, here it fell, and then it went through sideways, and like, why were you trying to take trades in the middle of that? He's totally right. I think that, so what I was saying earlier was that I think that we kind of had a little bit of a mixture of, one, trying to make an adjustment to my strategy, and I shouldn't be trading that live, and two, just being really off. Like, I think that, like, mentally I was slow and stuff, because I was saying that I was playing Quake yesterday and I was slow and I wasn't doing as well as I wanted. So I think that, there might have been a couple of issues. When I woke up this morning, my head hurt, and I took a Gatorade, and then I came in and did the speed tests, and I was pretty good. So I think that maybe I overcame that, and I did do that trade. Maybe I could have taken +3 on it, but I thought that trade was pretty good, even though I didn't get the profit right. But that's hard, missing that's hard. It's okay.
Air Cages says, do you play Counter-Strike?
I have been playing Counter-Strike, actually, yeah. But you know what? I don't like Counter-Strike. I think, for one, it's just not that interesting of a game to me. But then for two, I feel like that the netcode has way too big of an impact on the online play. Like if you have more than like a 50 millisecond ping, you're disadvantaged. Like 50 milliseconds is a lot in that situation. And if you're reacting at like 200 milliseconds, and then you add the 250 on that, and the other guy, he doesn't have the 50, and he's, maybe he's even faster than you. Yeah, you're going to lose every time. And that's what I often find in Counter-Strike.
Gary Rich says, I play with myself a lot. Does that count for anything? I'm really, really good at it.
So this is saying that, let me, why did it crash? This is saying that Bookmap is $80 a month if you want to be able to trade futures. I might be reading that wrong, but based on this pricing, it seems to me that it is $79 a month. Now, what about Lifetime? It looks like with Lifetime, perhaps you can, yeah, okay. Check. So it looks like with Bookmap, if you pay for a Lifetime license, say you're not paying the $50 a month. That's interesting. Wonder why Jigsaw does it that way, does it the way that they do it. Because I would much rather pay $2,000 up front and then never have to pay the... But, I mean, it's worth $50 a month. And I would have expected Bookmap to be charging a monthly fee too.
Uzi Knesset says, same here.
So I don't know what to make of that. See, here's monthly. Then if you do it a whole year. And then Lifetime. Is there a star? Upgrade is limited to version 7 and next major release 8. Oh.
Uzi Knesset says, I don't think it's worth $50 a month for Eternity lol.
I see. I knew there was going to be a catch in there somewhere, and there's your catch. Is when they release the next major version, you get it. But then when they release version 9, or no, not even when they update 8. So like you'll get 8, but then when they update it, you're going to have to pay for the upgrade. That sucks. I'm not so
Mason
sure I like
Chan
that.
says, cause Jigsaw knows most traders don't make it, so they make more with the Lifetime license than getting paid for 4 months when they wash out. Gary Rich says they get you somehow, some way.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think that Jigsaw understands that the majority of people aren't making money, and that's why they put so much into their simulator. I really think that the simulator is one of their biggest, one of the biggest reasons to use it. The Jigsaw simulator is, in my opinion, the only accurate simulator. Well, it's not accurate. It's tougher than accurate, but I wouldn't be going and testing something on anything else and then saying that might work live. No way. But we can see here with myself. It seems that you placing orders seems to affect the market too. I don't think that it's like they can see you and like they're after you. I think it's like something in aggregate. Somehow it affects the algorithms, and that could over time diminish your edge. Or if you're just placing orders in the wrong spots, like I was yesterday, they're likely to come after you. Like, it seems like these...
Uzi Knesset says if you're gonna be sim trading, you should do it actively. Pop your Vista chart open and trade leaning on high liquidity areas or something. Sim trading is the best time to. Uzi Knesset says emphasize what works and what doesn't.
Yeah. Well, I could try taking a lot of trades in the E-mini. That might be fun, but... So if I come over here to my chart, see, here's this little white candle right here was the one that I was trading off of. And I could see that they were iceberging higher. So I thought that there was a good chance that they were going to go and test lower. And they did. And then there was this candle right here, and we equaled it at 29. Right? Now there's this big candle right here, and I thought that maybe they would try and engulf that. And they didn't go for that one. So Mason was right earlier that I really should have gotten out at +2. But like I said, when you're less than 4 ticks in the profit, it can be really hard for me to see.
Gary Rich says sim is good for refining your skills and it keeps your process going.
It can be really hard for me to see, so I'm not going to stress too much about missing that one. But it just seems, and when I come back and I look at this one, okay, here was one. They broke it, and they actually had a good move. Here was one. Where was one that really didn't work? Well, so like this one right here. Up and then back. It seems like if it's on the 15-minute chart, you can just get a 1 or 2.
Uzi Knesset says I mentioned earlier that the new NT8 update gave me options chain for my data feed. I'm curious where this data comes from.
Oh, is that really? You're on Rhythmic, right? That is curious. No, I thought that Uzi was on CQG. Have I updated? What is the... Oh, that was like yesterday, huh?
Uzi Knesset says cuz it doesn't appear to match the CME data and they only have the ZP options for February 21st, 20.
That's interesting. I suppose I could try updating. You know what, actually, we need to do? I've been meaning to do this for a couple of days. If it's okay with you guys, since it has been really slow, and now that it's 8:45 and we're still at 31, I don't know if there's any opportunity for me. So I'm going to close Jigsaw here. And I'm going to open up Sierra Charts.
Uzi Knesset says it's interesting to monitor, but I don't know how any of it works.
Okay. All right. Historical download complete. Okay. Oh. It is doing it. But it's not drawing it. It seems to work, but it doesn't draw it. Isn't that interesting? Now I have to remember where. Okay, here it is. Let's see here. Subgraph name, market depth, update count, draw style, line, primary color, RGB. Oh, so it must be, okay, draw style. So that's what we need to look up here. Sierra charts, draw style. Subgraph array, yes. Draw style.
Uzi Knesset says also curious if NinjaTrader as a brokerage allows you to exercise options. iSim traded a contract yesterday and it seems to only let you profit or lose on the value of the contract.
Supposedly, I don't think... Oh, yes. So it totally works. But why is it going negative? Oh, because that last one was so small. Okay. So I wonder if I can I just, how do I do it? Man. Sierra charts is confusing sometimes. Now I have to remember here. I think it's under analysis, right? Studies. Okay. So market depth, update, count. Okay. Subgraph, line, and I want it to be,
Michael
should it be
XC
bar?
says I missed what you guys are talking about. Jigsaw is probably going to make a new version and charge for that?
No. We were talking about Bookmap versus Jigsaw because we don't like having to pay a monthly fee to execute live trades on Jigsaw. And so we were looking at Bookmap, and on Bookmap, you don't get updates. You pay $2,000 and you don't get updates. So even though you get the next first major update on 8. So like you'll get 8.1, but that might suck, and then yeah. So they still catch you. Because can you imagine? Would you rather pay $50 a month, or would you, like, when they get to a new version and you're like, well, I feel like I need to update, but I can't spend $2,000 and not be able to do it? Whereas with Jigsaw, the advantage to Jigsaw, why do I have this over here? The advantage to Jigsaw is that you're always kind of like on the newest, coolest stuff. So yeah. So can you Sierra chart guys help me out here? What is the best draw style to use here? It probably is a bar. Bar bottom, bar top, text transparent. Candlestick. Oh, that's cool that they have a candlestick one. I want a histogram. What is the best? I know what I can do. If I come in here and I add volume, what does volume use? Draw style is a bar. Okay. So why does it seem like it's starting from the top? Okay, well, let's just let it run for a little bit. Okay. The read numbers that they give me are different. The numbers that they're giving me are different. It may be because there's a difference in how they determine the ticks, or between the demo data and the real data. But it does appear to work, because that first one was like big, and now these next two are small. Here, there's a stop. 270, 300. Why does it seem like the Jigsaw one is, or sorry, the Sierra Charts one is slower? That's kind of weird. Any thoughts? Hmm. I'm sitting here and I'm like, maybe it's the NinjaTrader one that's wrong. No? Where would it be wrong? This one is getting more than this one. Oh, Sierra Charts must be filtering it. They must be junking it somehow. Which means that it might not necessarily be as reliable. I mean, I could understand why they would do that. Like if they say like you get 5 orders in, and they're all just like one order adding or pulling, then why not just consolidate that instead of forcing everything to have to read it, you know? Could also go in and change this thing so that it updates after every order. There's a way to do that. See, this one actually says, well, that's going to be wrong because we didn't. See, it says that there's been 3895 orders, and this one says that there's been 6,000. Now they're both reading the chart the same way, right? But this one is getting more updates. Hmm. The problem is that because the data feeds aren't the same, because this one is running on live data and this one's running on demo data. Well, I think it's good enough that I could probably give it to somebody to watch. I mean, it still gives roughly the same. What if we changed this to be, so let's see here. How do I change it back to a minute one? A minute chart. Bar period type. Days, minutes, seconds per bar. Days, minutes, seconds. Fine. Okay. So now let's pull this one up. Okay, that's definitely looks correct. Okay. Is it going to move over to a new bar now? Okay, there it moved. Okay, they both went at the same time. This one still shows more. Well, I'm not sure what to make of that. There must be, I think that there's a problem in my zero chart logic here. Did we mood tick up finally? Oh, no, there we go. Well, I'm going to close this again. Open back up Jigsaw. Well, I look at this and try and figure out why. It must have something to do with the sequence number. And there's a bug right there. I think there's a bug right there. It might cause it to undercount. I have to look into that. The way that Sierra Charts does this is really weird. Mm-mm. Well, there's the E-mini pushing the 42 level. Struggling a little bit still. Okay, well, now that I did that, now let's close down NinjaTrader. And make sure that we're updated to the latest version. Yeah, see, there's still. I don't know about this, guys. This E-mini is really interesting to me. That's interesting. Okay. Sorry, it's going to make the screen go black. Okay. Unable to retrieve type info for add-on base? Okay, well, it's loading stuff. Let's not panic yet. Okay. I think we're okay. So now that we got that, how did you get the options chain stuff, Uzi? Oh, I see it. Never mind. Okay. So there's the option chain. It doesn't show it to me though. So Rhythmica doesn't give it to me. So there's your answer, Uzi. You're still there. It would be nice to try it. Wouldn't the leverage on an option though be like really crazy? Hmm. Let's get rid of that.
Air Cages says, what's the next trade?
Good question. I mean, this still actually kind of looks short to me. The question is just like, can we actually catch a good spot in here? It's kind of, we've just had like 2 inside bars. Actually, the last bar was inside, so maybe we have a trade here. I don't think I want to go for the one on the upside, though. Let's see what they do. They might try and bust out here at the top, and if I get an overextension, then I might fade it. Okay, yes, and the other thing is, let's look and see exactly what I'm at.
Smash the Bid says Sierra Chart's stock depth bars are terrible. They only update the depth when orders hit versus constantly updating the depth on depth changes.
So let me see if I understand what you just said there correctly, Smash the Bid. You're saying that they don't update the depth until an order has gone through, like actual volume has gone through, instead of just like if no orders have gone through and the depth is updated a bunch of times, it doesn't show those? Is that what you mean? Or because that doesn't quite sound right to me. So my understanding of how it works is this. Hold on. They've got this array of updates. And in that update could either be an order or it could be a level 2 change. And then on a predefined interval, the methods will be called from everything to look into that array and do stuff with it. Meaning that your DOM is controlled by that global update interval. And that's when you will see the updates, which by default is like 100 milliseconds or something like that. That's my understanding of how it works. But it's possible that they're like that they're consolidating them like that.
Air Cages says Smash the Bid, can you change your username to Smash the Like?
I mean that's
Smash
a
the
good
Bid says
suggestion.
sure, if you change yours to Airhead.
I think those are both interesting suggestions that you should consider. Hit that like button if you haven't already, guys, by the way. We're a little light on likes today. Do you not like me today? You know what? It's okay if you don't. You know, I was talking something that one of the guys that I watch on Twitch. Mostly because he's also here in Utah, apparently. Not that I've met him or anything, but I hope to someday. His name is Harris Heller. And one of the things that he was talking about lately is that there's this thing where when like you produce content, how much people like you is almost like becomes your living. Now, I'm not using it to pay for my living. I have a regular job, but I can imagine, I can imagine, you know, being in that situation. Yet it's still the mental thing is like how well your channel is doing is kind of dependent on how much people like you, you know? And if you have a period where things are going well and then they go away, it's like, oh, they don't like me. And I was kind of thinking about it because yesterday we got a ton of views on that video because people came in from Reddit. And I think that they came in and they're like, well, he doesn't look like he's doing very well. I don't want to follow him.
Air Cages says I like you, Seth.
Oh, thank you, Air Cages.
Harlequin says you didn't promote Garlicoin today, so no like from me.
You know, let's look at what Garlicoin is actually doing right now, okay? Let's look at what Garlicoin is doing. Coin. I haven't looked at a chart since Sunday. Garlic. Okay. Oh, we don't want to look at all that. We want to look like maybe since the last little spike. Yeah. It's not looking terribly great, does it? There was some good movement back there in May. They are getting some spikes. I'm telling you. I mean, like, look at these. Let's just look at this one right here. So it went from 0.008. No. Well, let's get rid of some of these. I don't care about the market cap or the price in Bitcoin. Okay. So we went from 0.0035 to 0.0013. That's like triple your money, guys. Ekareo markets are dead again.
Ekareo says markets are dead again. Harlequin says asterisk now. Harlequin says see not you got your like.
Oh, I see. I got it. Good deal. I'm just saying, man. Now, if you can triple your money overnight in Garlic Coin, okay. Now imagine how far it could go if you put $100,000 into it.
Air Cages says we need to revive our illegal pump group.
No illegal. There will be no illegal illicit activity linked to this channel, please. Do not pump it. We'll wait. Somebody else will do it. No, nobody has to pump Garlic Coin. Natural demand will come into the coin, and we're going to make tons of money because people are going to see that it is way undervalued. That's what's going to happen, guys. Yeah. I know it's crazy and dumb, but you know, it's a shitty coin, and that's what happens to shitty coins is you make tons of money on them, guys. It really is. No joke.
Harlequin says I put $1 million at $1. Not looking that good, but there is gonna be a pump, I know it.
I hope you didn't put in $1 million. You know, the thing is that some people did put a lot of money into it when it first went live. And I was looking at how much you were making from mining it, because when it was at one point it was like at $2. And I was like, yeah, guys, this is not sustainable. When you look at what you're making on mining, this is worth way too much. And everybody on the thing kind of like they didn't like I got downvoted. But I was totally fucking right.
Air Cages says good idea. Let some other illegal pump group hold the bags.
Exactly. We'll let some other illegal pump group hold the bags. I mean, the thing that sucks, you know what? Oh, so here's an interesting rumor. This is not confirmed by me. Okay, but there was a thing on the subreddit the other day about Warrior. That's his name. Warrior trading. You know who I'm talking about? Another guy here on YouTube. And it was asking, hey, is he legit? And people said no. And people in the thread were actually saying that what he does is he finds stocks that don't have very much liquidity and buy them. And then he has a lot of followers in his channel and they all buy it after him. And that's basically how he's making his money. So they basically accused him of being a pump and dump scheme. Can you believe? I thought that was interesting.
Harlequin says, do you know the pump it, dump it videos on YouTube? I find them funny. Just search for he bought on YouTube.
I haven't seen that. I have to look. I can't really show other people's videos here on YouTube. I don't think that's proper. So I will refrain. But the pump and dump groups thing is really like, this is for people that don't understand how it works. If the only people that are buying are the people involved in the pump and dump group, then the only determining factor on whether you make or lose money is based on how early you get in. You know? So they do a pump and dump group. The guy that's in charge, he gets in first. He's the one that makes all the money. And how is he making money? He's making it off of all of you buying after him. People that don't understand trading. It's kind of sad, isn't it? Well, it bothers me. I should put my thing. I don't know why I didn't put it. I used to not put my water bottle here, but now I'm thinking this is a great spot for my water bottle. Anyways, I digress.
Harlequin says, aren't you allowed to watch YouTube videos? The only other streamer I watch, Lyric, does this frequently.
Yeah, I don't
Air
know.
Cages says you can short those illiquid stocks.
The thing is on Twitch, I don't think that anybody cares. I don't know if it's allowed. It's just, it's common. On Twitch, they don't do anything about it. But here on YouTube, I'm afraid that if I have somebody else's content within my video, that the robots that search, listen to your track's audio and all that sort of a thing will flag it. So that's why I don't do it. I one time I did this thing because Junabeats and Junabeats had said, hey, you can use our music to stream. Well, they didn't specify that you could only stream it on Twitch. So when I tried doing it on YouTube, first thing, when that video got processed, they flagged it and demonetized the video and muted the audio or whatever. So I just don't mess with that stuff anymore. We'll see what happens. Supposedly today, if rumor is to be believed, they are going to release the updated policy guidelines for YouTube today. And a lot of channels might get taken out. Like Steven Crowder was all, what is the word, triggered. Steven Crowder was like, man, I don't know, go watch the video, but he was like, at the end of it, he was like, and if it's war, then so be it. I'm like, that sounds a little dramatic, dude. I wouldn't use the term war, buddy.
Air Cages says, what kind of channels?
Well, so from what I've been reading in the rumor mill, all of the...
Lucas says, hi, Seth.
Oh, hey, Lucas, where you been? Are you better today?
Lucas says, are you better today?
I think so. I think I'm still recovering. I took a short and I got 3 ticks out of it, but I didn't take the profit and I scratched it. And for the most part, I haven't really seen any opportunity other than that. So it's just FOMC day, I guess.
Michael XC says, you mean the audio when the music was playing gets muted? Or the entire 2 hours of video is muted? Lucas says Fed Day didn't trade.
Yeah, they didn't trade. It was, well, I think that people were trying to trade the CPI number, but then when that didn't go through, then it kind of turned dead, didn't it? I mean, somebody is selling it for sure. Somebody is definitely keeping it below 31 from what I can tell. But yeah, I mean, look at the cumulative delta. It's barely moved. It's moved like back and forth between 3,000 contracts all day. That's super, super light. And look at the liquidity. The liquidity is pretty sad too, although it is building up a little bit. Yeah, no, I think that when you get muted, like the whole thing gets muted.
Lucas says I see. Seems I didn't miss much, lol.
Yeah. Because I know there's a lot of streamers that if I try and watch them on replay, they're just, you can never hear anything. Yeah, I guess you didn't miss much. It's been much lighter today. What kind of channels?
Air Cages says what kind of channels?
Well, so like the one is, there's a guy that I'll watch.
Smash the Bid says with it. Smash the Bid says sorry a little behind. But yes, that's what I mean. The depth bars will not update until an order goes through. I had to pay a programmer for better ones. The chart update interval has nothing to do.
So there is a way to change it from within Sierra charts, but you had to pay a guy to do it? And was this on your DOM or in another indicator? So for those of you that are missing it, I was testing my Sierra chart indicator earlier, and the read that I get in terms of number of orders that have gone through between Sierra charts and
Air
NinjaTrader
Cages
was
says
different.
you said some channels are going to go down. Just wondering which ones.
Yes. Okay, wait. So we got a couple of different things going on here. Yeah, so the guy that I've been watching is the stock guy, even though it's just stocks, but it's just, I'm trying to convince him to trade futures. That's why I'm talking. That's why I go in there. I'm trying to convince him to trade futures. But yeah, I don't think he'll ever bite. It sounds to me like he used to trade stocks and he actually did fairly well with it, but that it was like too much stress for him, and eventually he stopped doing it and he just wants to stream, which is, I understand that. It's stressful. Okay, yeah, and then which channels are going to go down? So from what I've been reading, it sounds like the flat earthers are going to get hit today. This is rumor, but everybody seems to think that it's the flat earthers. And when you see the people that seem to be like most triggered about it, it's the flat earthers. Now, it could just be internal rumors that the flat earthers themselves created to like trigger themselves and stuff. So I don't know, but they've been saying for the past week that on the 10th and 11th that YouTube was going to bring out the new policies and start banning channels from it. So we'll see what happens today if they do it. And then yesterday, yeah.
Harlequin says and nothing of value was lost, lol.
I mean, you're right, but here's the thing.
Air Cages says I hope it doesn't affect the Garlic Coin community.
No, yeah, I know. I mean, if the Garlic Coin community on YouTube got hit, that would be really bad. But you know what? That's actually good for Garlic Coin price, because everything's good for Garlic Coin price, right? No, there's this thing where like all of the applications are basically trying to maximize one thing, and that is ad revenue. They want the most clicks. That's really what it comes down to. Like news organizations, they look at what headlines generate the most clicks, and they set their headlines based on that. There was a story this morning that was like, analysts say that there could be an 11th hour trade deal.
Harlequin says if the Garlic Coin community gets hit, oh boy, all 5 of us are going to be so upset.
I know, right? All 5. Listen, there are dozens of us. Actually, there's probably a few hundred of us. I digress. They're going for the clicks. And they were like, analysts say, and I'm like, okay, so you don't even actually have a real story anymore. It's just analysts are making shit up and you're trying to pass that off as a good trade war study. Obviously, you're only doing it for the clicks. Obviously. And I say, hey, you know what, news organization, you should be more responsible. We're relying upon people for the news, and you're basically making stuff up now at this point. That's not cool. That's like beyond fake news. Right? Especially when it's like market impacting news, right? So then we go back to, just the social media general and YouTube in particular. Okay. If you give the video a really clickbaity title, people click on it. Lots of people clicked on my I blow my account. beyond the people that we were getting from Reddit, actually. And the title and your thumbnail means almost everything. And so YouTube is basically optimized towards that. And the question I ask is that socially responsible? Should the algorithm only prioritize clicks?
Air Cages says, could they ever ban trading channels? They already banned poker channels and gambling-related channels.
Really? Well, they could. If they did, we'd just go somewhere else. We can go, we could try streaming on Twitch, or we could go to Gab, I guess. I don't think that they would do that, though. I get maybe, well, I don't know. That's interesting, though. You say they've banned poker channels. So if it's a channel that just teaches you how to play poker, that's banned? Or is it like they're actually showing people trading or playing poker? That's interesting. But so back to the main subject, though. The question is kind of like, why did the flat earth thing become such a big deal on YouTube? How did that happen? That's weird. Like that flat earth, all of a sudden, I remember way back in the day that it was like a forum joke, and I think the only people that actually believed in that were doing it as a joke. But then this one guy came up with a little theory and he spread it around, and all these people buy it. Even though it's a ridiculous theory, really. And like there are so many things that they cannot explain. It's really quite funny to watch them try and explain stuff like eclipses and stuff like that. But there's like a bunch of people jumped on this bandwagon for it. It was really weird, right? What is it about YouTube that caused that to happen? And here's the thing. I don't think that YouTube should be suppressing people's speech or anything like that. Like, that bothers me too, especially when it comes into the political arena. But then at the same time, it's like, it's
Air Cages says, I'm not sure, but I saw a bunch of massive poker channels being taken down due to a change in the community guidelines. They labeled it as harmful content.
Well, that could be. Maybe. We'll see what happens. We'll see what their guidelines are today. As far as I know, though, we're within guidelines. And if it does come down to something like that, we'd still make videos. It would just be like more finance related videos or something. That's what I would like to do eventually. I have a bunch of videos planned for the beginning of the year. Probably going to record them over the break. And these are going to be some videos that I think will really boost the channel a bit. And then once I've gotten all of those out of our system, and a couple of them are going to be like, why do most traders lose? And that sort of a thing, right?
Harlequin says, or go back to Twitch, Pornhub.
Yeah, right. And then I do want to start branching out a little bit. I do want to start making content that is geared towards more general people. If I feel like we've answered all of the big questions for traders, right? Most of the stuff you guys already know, but it's kind of like people that are just starting out, what sort of stuff they want to look for, that sort of a thing. So we would branch out, but I don't think that that's ever going to happen. And, the reason that I moved over to streaming exclusively to YouTube is because, as far as I can tell, that's just where the viewers are. You guys don't watch Twitch. Like, it's funny, the stock guy streams on Twitch, and he actually gets a decent number of viewers. Like concurrent viewers, I'm quite impressed with it. When you look at like total number of views that people do throughout the day, we have more. But that makes sense to me because you're going to have a lot of people that are going to be interested in the channel, but can't necessarily watch it live because they're live trading, and they find it too distracting. I'm going to say it's like 50-50. And that tends to be what we've seen. We actually had 124 playbacks today, so like that's in line with what we've been getting. It's growing. But a lot of them don't stay through the whole thing. They kind of come in and see, okay, what is he thinking? And then they go back to their own thing, which is cool. But they're on YouTube. They're not on Twitch. Twitch is a bunch of kids. And then the other platforms are just like, ugh. like if we moved over to say Gab, like we might be like one of the biggest streamers on that platform. So, but probably not going to affect us. Okay, so somebody asked me a question here. What broker do you use? So I use AMP, and apart from the $50 you pay, are there any extra fees you pay? Yes, because there is a $15 a month for data. So I'll message it back to him. Use AMP. So, it would also be interesting to stream to Pornhub. That would be funny. I mean, if that's what we had to do.
Air Cages says this YouTube censorship really pisses me off. I wish there was a popular decentralized video streaming platform that actually had users.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the thing that bothers me is, I mean, there's two things. There's throttling and then there's censorship. Okay. So to me, the censorship is absolutely not okay. So like if there's a ton of flat earth channels out there and YouTube gets rid of all of those flat earth channels, that to me is censorship. They shouldn't be doing that. As stupid as the flat earth theory is. But on the other hand, there's something wrong with the platform if it's driving a bunch of people to be interested in the flat earth theory.
Harlequin says yeah, and the only reason to have a Pornhub account is to watch your stream ahem, obviously.
Obviously. Hey, listen, isn't there this guy on Pornhub that makes tons of money making like the most wholesome non-pornographic videos ever? I always thought, I'll see those on Reddit, like little GIFs, and they were always funny. Yeah, but so maybe we should make a change to YouTube so that things like the flat earth theory don't happen. Okay, sure. But then how do you do that? Because if we start throttling specific content, then it turns into, oh, they're throttling conservative opinions or liberal opinions or whatever it is, right? I mean, that's happening too. Like conservatives have, without question, dominated YouTube. That like the liberals have like the Young Turks, and then like all of the independent creators are
Harlequin
conservative.
says yep, and also some illegal movies have been uploaded there, so Pornhub is the future. The future.
Yeah. So here's Smash the Bid answering our question
Smash
from
the
earlier.
Bid says it was a completely different indicator I had a programmer develop for me. Does the same thing as the stock one does, except it updates WAAAY faster.
Okay. So I would need to go back and read the documentation. Well, my understanding was that there is a way to get it here. I'll just show you the code because I haven't done any of the complicated stuff in here yet, right? See, so you get this time and sales array that you can get the time and sales.
Air Cages says there are things that different people get wrong. I don't think that they're intentionally getting it wrong. It's hard to impugn intent and to understand the intent. Yeah.
And then you go through the array and you process them, and then we're all increasing them. This bit of code is like one line in NinjaTrader. So I don't like the way that CR charts have things set up. I don't think it was very well thought out. But you see, here's all of the updates that you get in the period. And we would like it to be just like literally every time that there's an update that this increases it, right? So there's a way to make it so that this for loop processes literally every time. But I thought that there was like a chart setting that you set or something, and not necessarily in the indicator. I have to go back and look at it again. But you might, based on what you're telling me, Smash the Bid, you might be seeing what I was saying earlier, that
Air Cages says flat earthers, I mean.
It queues the updates. So you don't get them immediately, you get them every 100 milliseconds. So that is true. But it doesn't explain why the number is
Harlequin
different.
says I really want to learn programming. Got any tips? For Sierra chart, need to start from 0. But well got time.
Well, I mean, the one that I did, I kind of built it from the code that they already have in there. So the thing is, I will make some Sierra chart videos at some point, but I'm going to need to play with it a little bit more to get an idea of like what are going to be the most useful things for you guys, because it's just not. When I look at Sierra charts, how do I put this? Okay, disclaimer. I have nothing against Sierra charts, and I'm only just barely using it, so I'm not that familiar with it. Okay, so this is not like, don't read this as a criticism of Sierra charts. It's just an observation of what I have so far. When I look at NinjaTrader 8, this looks to me like this is something that's like there was a programmer, or there was a trader, and he got programmers that liked trading, and they got together and they tried to make the best platform they could possibly make. And they considered everything about how to make it easy to use and everything else like that. When I look at Sierra charts, it looks to me like a trader wanted to program something and didn't know how, and paid a programmer to do it. And the programmer didn't know anything about trading, and he happened to hire somebody from India or something like that. Because there's just so many things that to me don't
Harlequin
look...
says wait, so I don't need to have experience in a programming language? They have tutorials I can learn it? Talking about Sierra.
Yeah, it doesn't look like they thought it out. Well, so Harlequin, I wouldn't think of it like that. Here's the thing. Programming. When I go to school...
Michael XC says you'll get farther faster starting from 0 with SC than NinjaTrader for sure.
You get farther faster starting from 0 with Sierra charts and NinjaTrader? I'm not sure I understand. Anyways, how do I say? You don't need to know a programming language. Like when I go to school and I learn programming, there's like one class that is like basic syntax. Okay, guess what? Like most of that stuff you figure out from looking at other people's code, because it's all English words anyways. And then, they very quickly go into, okay, how do we sort a list? What are some algorithms that are efficient at sorting a list? How do I do a graph? And these sort of complicated data structure things. And the honest truth is that within trading, very few of those concepts are used, especially if you're creating a technical analysis indicator that is not order flow based. If you're just, calculating a bunch of stuff that already exists and just getting it to spit out a value to you that you can chart, very easy. And you can basically copy and paste other people's code and then just change the one little part that is the formula. All right. So this code that I have here for my market depth update count, all this stuff about, okay, get the time and sales, make sure that there's actually stuff in it so that we don't process it if it's empty. Keep track of the sequence number, and if we haven't seen a sequence number before, then we set it here. And then coming in here, if the record sequence number is less than the last one that we've done, then that means that you've already processed this one, which I don't understand why that would happen, but that makes sense to me. You've got to do them all in order. Okay, sure. And going through this for loop, I pulled this out of the base market depth indicators. So I forget what was the name of it. It wasn't order entry studies. They might have been within the SC structure. Anyways, this was like base code from it. But this is kind of where I'm kind of like, well, that's messed up. I shouldn't have to do that. There should be a method to do that. Because now I'm duplicating code, and I'm actually like, there's something already in the background already doing this on every chart anyways, and now I have to do it a second time. Because there's no way for me to use the result of that processing. Or similarly, to do this stuff, I'm going to have to do what I want to do, I'm going to have to create my own order book. Obviously, somewhere CR Charts is storing an order book, but I can't use it, right? So what you going to do? By the way, when I said that we could maybe buy at 31, I was hoping maybe I could sell on the other side of this range, and instead they did end up pushing up anyways. Oh, the code will always be way shorter. Well, the code in NinjaTrader 8 is definitely shorter. But this whole thing like doesn't make any sense to me. It's like, okay, here's a template function, and then like everything is in that one function. So retarded. So like the way that they have it organized makes polymorphism and so forth really difficult. Oh, that was an interesting uptick. Yeah.
Air Cages says, did you go to school for programming or were you a self-learner? Michael XC says, well, for your typical stuff, I mean, didn't investigate accessing the order book in either platform.
Yeah.
3idet says, if you really want to learn programming, learn a statically typed language like C++, algorithms and data structures, best guided by goal you try to accomplish, e.g., custom from scratch trading tool.
Well, yeah, and that's where I'm getting into like when you talk about what you learn in computer science, that's what they're doing is they're trying to teach you to be able to read data structures and basically because algorithms have a lot to do with the data structure. Like most complicated algorithms, it has to do with storing the data in a certain way so that you can find the thing that you want quickly, okay? Like a good example is when you're sorting a list, you can go through and you can say, okay, here's this item, sort it into the spot. Here's this item, sort it into the spot, okay? And they call that insert and sort. Don't worry too much if you don't completely understand where that's going, okay? But the fastest way to do it is to take this structure, have a structure, and then every time that you add something into the list, it goes down through the structure and the structure is like a tree, and it puts it into that spot. So if you're doing like a dictionary of words, and you wanted to be able to look up a word really, really quickly, they use this binary tree because the data structure itself sorts the item when you insert it instead of putting everything in and then sorting it afterwards, right? So the data structure does the work for you. And everything in computer science is designed for you to be able to do that sort of stuff. And learning a statically typed language like Bidet is saying makes a lot of sense because, especially C++, because then you have to learn how to manage the memory and do everything the most efficient way possible. And there's a lot of benefits from that, okay? But if you don't know how to program and you just want to make something work, man, you can jump skip all that, man. You know, it's really, really easy to program in NinjaTrader 8. Sierra Charts is not that difficult. I think that Sierra Charts is hard if you want to do something a little unique, but if you just want to make an indicator, it's pretty straightforward. And another thing that I would recommend looking into is Node. Like Node is really easy to work with, and you can do really powerful things with it. Like if you want to do anything with like web services and like my robot, for instance, is written in Node, right? You can do that. And it's as simple as, what is it that you want to do? I want to download a CSV file from a URL. You just search for that and there will be like a Stack Overflow question somewhere with the exact piece of code that you need to use. And then you just piece them all together. So if you want to learn to code Sierra Charts, my recommendation would be to look at the indicators that they include with it. Right? Oh, my thing just reset. So here's the last couple of messages.
Ace Trade says short signal 3138.50.
Oh, really?
3idet says if you just try to customize a trading platform, take a shortcut and follow Seth's tips. Michael XC says basically common sense. Michael XC says divide and conquer. Michael XC says but just use a library nowadays.
Yeah. So the advantage to Node is that there are so many libraries out there that almost anything that you want to do is already going to have a really simple API for you to use. Now, the problem with Node is that it's the wild, wild west. So remember what the other day when we were trying to make a command so that you could see what the available voices are? Well, the API that I'm using doesn't provide any function for the bot to say anything. I think that it can say things, but their interface doesn't do it. So I might have to write it. Okay, well, now that that's done, yeah, an hour ago, Chatty Cathy. Oh, wait, what? Oh, no. Yeah, see, I get this thing. So this is what will happen is the API will say, oh, you've exceeded your quota. And then all of a sudden, it'll be like, oh, okay, well, we'll let you get just this one time. And then I get all of the rest of them. Yeah, it's too late now. I wouldn't take that one anyways, just because, it's so close. I got to get going. Oh yeah, and get called too. So I gotta go. Check out this cool end stream. If you haven't checked out the Patreon, their link is in the video description. I post cryptocurrency charts every day. I'm about to go off and do that now. So thank you guys very, very much. Okay, day today. I think that we have, solved a couple of our problems, and I think we have a good point to work from. And yeah, Ace did go short, and I am seeing like something weird is going on in the E-mini. They're kind of falling apart, so maybe they continue that. And I mean, the treasuries are like pushing the highs here too. So I don't know what to think about what's going on right now. But it's FOMC day, so good luck. I'm not going to stream the FOMC. Normally I would, but I'm going to save the vacation day. So I will see you guys tomorrow. In the meantime, stay profitable, friends.